our community members know and recognize you guys, but for those who don't, would you mind introducing yourselves?
So my name is Ashley Hoffman. I'm a community resource paramedic with Winchester Fire and Rescue, and I participate in the CARE program.
And I am Chief Henschel of the Winchester Fire and Rescue Department, soon to be retired, but I'm here one last time for this event.
Yeah. Congratulations on your retirement. Yeah, congratulations. How many years have you served Winchester City Fire Rescue?
The city, 27 and a half years.
Yeah. What's been your favorite thing? And maybe there's too many to go through, but
There are
a couple of your
probably
favorite things?
too many to go through, but the bottom line is I enjoy serving the community, serving people, helping them in their time of need, and I know that that's one of the many things you do here, so it's a great partnership to have.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful. Personally, I'm grateful for both of you guys, and I know the rescue mission and our residents and those whom we serve are grateful for you. Ashley, you mentioned the community paramedic program. So, Chief Henschel, explain a little bit of kind of how that came to be, and then Ashley, if you can kind of explain a little bit more details of what your day-to-day kind of looks like in that position.
So we started this program about 2.5 years ago, and during the inception of this program, we really were focused primarily on in-home clients in the community, those that may have issues with mobility or health concerns. There were some pieces of mental health that tied in as well, but looking really at how we could help community members in that setting to provide them with resources that they might not otherwise have. And some of these community members would utilize our emergency 911 system to go to the ER to try to get assistance for whatever ails them, but that wasn't really what they needed. And there was a lot of turnaround, and so we wanted to look at a way to address some of these things outside of the norm. And some of these programs have been very popular and been very successful in other jurisdictions, so we implemented that here. Now, as we've evolved the program and looked at the needs across the community, certainly homelessness crept into the scene, and we've begun to address a lot of those issues as well with several of our stakeholder partners, and looking at how we can help those on the street, those in the community that need additional assistance and other resources outside of the norm again. And that's really where we're at this point. But it's a broad program that can capture a lot of people with different issues, and Ashley has done a great job along with Nicole now as well in helping address some of these items, and really helping people with their needs and in their time of need. So.
Yeah, awesome. And Ashley, what does your average day look like? And I'm sure that changes every day, on the minute. But tell us a little bit about, what that looks like.
I was going to say a schedule does not work in this
it goes
role
out the window
whatsoever. I can have my day laid out and try to get to people, and the next thing you know, there are some emergent needs that creep up, especially this time of year with our homeless folks, and some of the barriers that some of them experience in being able to seek shelter. So those obviously are more emergent, so we have to kind of move and triage those up to make sure that those are getting met. But on a day-to-day, especially when we're dealing with the homelessness population, the one thing that we really have to consider when working with them is looking at the entire picture, right? It's not just about not having shelter, right? It might also be needing a job, getting appropriate medical care. A third of the population that experience homelessness actually suffer from severe mental illness. And that can cause a lot of barriers sometimes for them to even be able to be eligible for shelter. So one of the biggest things is trying to find a place to get them shelter, right? Create that stable environment to properly get them the counseling, the medical attention, medications, things they need for a better success rate long term. So it could also include getting their medications, right? They might have those struggles. They might not have insurance. They might have food insecurities, clothing, any basic need really is what I help them get the means for.
I love that so much, and I love that you are the indivial that is in this role. You've got such a talent, I believe such a calling for it. What do you guys mentioned earlier that y'all were a part of the point in time count, the pit count. Talk a little bit about what that is and why you guys got to be a part of that.
So the point in time count, the Western Virginia COC Continuum of Care is an organization that I started working with. There's a large team that serves regionally, and we discuss chronic homelessness every month. And we actually keep kind of like a running list of people that we're trying to work with in their situation. And one thing that's definitely unique with these individuals is there sometimes are a lot of us that are involved, but we all don't know that we're involved. So it's a great opportunity to bring all of us together from different facets to help discuss that person and help them overcome their challenges. But what they do once a year is we do it's a nationwide thing where we go out and we do a count. And because of our situation and doing a lot of street outreach to begin with, we thought it was important to sign up and volunteer to help go around and perform some surveys and get to know some of the true needs and some of the barriers that they're experiencing, so we can take that data back and look at it as a community and figure out how we can continue to address or maybe pivot and change how we're doing things, or be able to apply for grants for additional needs to better serve them.
I know Winchester Rescue Mission, along with a couple other nonprofits like Watts, I know is a location where we're doing that as well. You guys, I think we're out into some local encampments, trying to locate some of those individuals in need of those services, and track that data. And so I'm grateful that you guys did. Chief Henschel, you mentioned, something about me spending some time out here, and you as the fire chief, that's probably not something that's in your direct line of work. Why did you feel a calling to go out and actually be what we like to call like boots on the ground doing that?
So there are times, while most of my role involves administrative work, there are times when... You okay, Sam? You good over there? Okay. There are times when I like to get out and have some FaceTime with our personnel, whether it's in operations. If we have large scale incidents, I'll come out on those in those settings. When it comes to our programs, it's important to me to get out and truly see the work that we're doing. It's not just the assessment piece of it, but to truly understand the work that's being done, the importance of it. If there's needed conversation then with Ashley or our team, we can, have a better understanding of what they're talking about, of some things that we may need in addition to, and it just really helps put a different perspective on things. So it's important to me, even in my role, to actually get some FaceTime with our folks in the different programs we have.
Yeah. I think that speaks so highly of you and of your leadership. I think despite our friendly banter, I really do respect you, and I know so much of the community does as well. So I thank you for your leadership in that regard. One of the things I'm sure that both of you have experienced, because Ashley, I know that you you played a different role up at Summit Point, right? One of the things that you all see in being a first responder is this level of fatigue. And seeing kind of secondhand trauma. How do each of you in your own roles, support yourselves in that? And how do you support, your fellow colleagues in that? And Chief Henschel, in your role in leadership, how has the fire department supported the people working within the organization in things like their own mental health care with the things that they see on their job?
So interestingly enough, for the better part of my career, mental health was a stigma that was not addressed at all. And the general notion behind it was, suck it up and deal with it. And really that became the mantra by and large across the fire service. Yeah. So over the past probably 5 to 10 years, there's been more of an openness to understanding mental health and the impacts that first responders face. And all of the pitfalls that we could encounter. So along those lines, we really took a broader look at what we're doing to address mental health within our organization for our people, and understanding what those impacts can lead to, both in the short term as well as long-term effects. So one of the few options we had early on was critical incident stress debriefings. If you had a major incident, you would try to bring everybody together, diffuse the situation, talk about what happened, so on and so forth. But there was really very little other offerings or resources at our disposal. Over the past few years, we've evolved that into a much more robust program overall. Chaplaincy has been a piece of that. We've got a couple chaplains on board that come out and get in our stations. They'll ride calls with the guys. They'll interact with them, have a meal, that kind of thing. So they have some point contact with our chaplains. We also have a mental health clinician as a part of our city clinic who is available to all of our city career force. However, public safety tends to loom large where that's concerned and the need to engage someone. We also have a very robust peer support network. So that involves, I believe at this point, we've got about 10 members, operational members in our department. What are we up to now?
I thought 13 when I went to the training for the first time.
It ebbs and flows a little bit, but the bottom line is we try to keep a handful of members on each shift so that there's someone ready and available if one of their peers has an issue and they're comfortable in talking to them. And truthfully, we found that this is probably one of the bigger pieces of our program that our members are more apt to use because their peers know firsthand what they experience and what they face when they go into some of these incidents we run and some of the trauma they may be internalizing. So that's been a very successful piece of our program. Then we have a number of online offerings. We have a Lighthouse app. We have a number of other online offerings if they want to contact someone or talk that we've rolled out as well as a part of our program. Another piece as this has evolved is we're very fortunate. We started this program really in the fire department, but in conversation with our public safety partners, we have expanded this to include police, our DSS workers, and a couple others under the fire or public safety umbrella, which I think is very good considering they're facing some of the same things. So that partnership has gone well. I know some of these other departments have created some of their own policies perhaps around some of these offerings, but by and large, they mirror each other, which is very good. And we're all using some of the same resources. The other piece that is underway now is our collective efforts with members from each of these departments have come together to form a broader team that is working towards taking a few classes to enhance their education about what they're going to be dealing with, and then going through the formalities of forming a team that is going to achieve recognition across the state. So there could be an opportunity if something happens in another jurisdiction that these team members are requested to go and assist in another jurisdiction. So there's only 2 or 3 other teams in the state right now.
Oh, wow.
So we're very proud of this effort, and things are moving forward in a positive manner. So we're appreciative of the collective effort of everyone where mental health is concerned.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I have to say, from my point of view, and being that this is a newer program and a newer concept, and one of the things that really attracted me to coming here too was progressive things like what Chief Henschel was talking about and the things that they do for their staff. But I'm also in a very unique situation where there's not a lot of people in the field that really experience what I'm experiencing because they're seeing them for a small moment in time, right? They take care of them, they transport them to the hospital. Now they might see them at a higher, volume or utilization of services, but it's still for a short time frame. When I'm starting to work with them on a more intimate level, getting to know them better, and a lot of the struggles, I think part of what kind of helps me debrief sometimes is networking with people like you and other people in the community that we might share those clients together or be dealing with similar situations. So sometimes when we get really frustrated, whether it's because of a lack of resource or maybe somebody's maybe not willing to voluntarily participate like we hope, and you feel so frustrated because you're not making the progress that you had hoped. I think sometimes sharing those feelings with others that are experienced it really kind of help you, pull you through it and re-energize you to come back the next day and keep working.
Yeah. I love that. One of the things that I think has been a great success is a story that you recently, I believe it was last week, potentially the week prior, is a shared guest, a shared patient, right, of ours, and how you have been able to get him connected to a higher level of care that we here at the Mission have been able to provide. And I'd almost argue that we locally don't have the resources really to help this individual long term. So talk a little bit about that, obviously, respecting that privacy and what led to that and the success of that.
So one of the things that I realized coming in May and kind of taking over the program and looking at it and see how it fits within the community is I realized that while we're all working very diligently, that there was a piece of collaboration at times that that was missing. So with this particular individual, I began to learn more about them and the people involved in their care, and was able to kind of put a better story together. Unfortunately, there's somebody that suffers from a very severe mental illness and has for many years, and I think has just been such a chronic utilizer of services that it was just kind of a revolving door of such. So I learned a lot about laws and things in order to I don't want to say take somebody's rights away, but sometimes when we have to step in and do things involuntarily, when they can no longer really make those appropriate decisions for themselves. So I had to do a lot of studying, a lot of learning, and strategizing. And with that being said, we were finally able to have an opportunity that presented itself to get him to the local hospital, which we work with a lot, and we've seen a lot of efficiencies and success with collaboration with them. But it allowed the opportunity for me to paint a picture what life looks like for him out here in the normal day, because they're only seeing them in the ER. So they're kind of going off what he or she may be telling them. So the ability for me to kind of come in and really paint that picture of what a day in their life really looks like. And while the discharge plans that sometimes that are created for these individuals may not be successful. So for example, a lot of people don't think about transportation being an issue. So maybe they get stabilized in a facility, whether that's a long-term or just, through the emergency room, but they tell them to follow up. They don't have phones. They have no transportation, right? They have to be able to carry and manage their medications. And in this individual's situation, his things were getting stolen often. He, because of the mental illnesses he had, he would forget where he put things. So it's really hard to try to stabilize and make somebody better when they don't have that stabilized shelter. And unfortunately, because of their time here and because of some of those unmanaged behaviors, he doesn't have the same access to some services that other people would.
Yeah. I'm so proud. I'm so excited both for this individual, now having some additional resources, I think, and such advocacy, and I admire you and your tenacity to really help this individual, and I just thank you so much for that. It's someone very near and dear to us and cared very deeply about them. But so I just thank you so much for your willingness to advocate and quite frankly fight for this person. Chief Henschel, you just recently announced your retirement. What is next for the fire department? What's coming up for Winchester City Fire and Rescue Department? I know you guys have some construction going on down towards
we have a lot of things underway. So there's a new fire station being built in the center of town. I believe most of our community members are aware of that, as the demolition is largely taking that block at this point. So that's one of the huge projects. It'll be our first city-owned flagship station. And then we have a new CAD project underway. We've got some things moving and shaking with apparatus, and then working with the volunteers on their role, their enhanced role in the community and what they provide to us. And just many things underway. We're adding staffing. There's just a number of things, enhancing our programs. And I feel very strongly that whomever comes in and takes over will continue the efforts that are being made and continue the successes that we've achieved over the past several years.
I love that. I'm very excited for you. I feel like that was a very bittersweet announcement, but very excited for you, excited for the fire department and the next leader that comes in. I think you've led the fire department incredibly well, and I'm grateful for your leadership in that. All right, and this can be professionally or personally, what are y'all's favorite things about the Winchester area?
Go ahead. You look like you have something.
And maybe it's two or three, because there's so many, I think, just really good things about this area.
So I appreciate the history that's here. If you look around at the old buildings, I'm a little bit of a Civil War buff, so when you look at all the things that happened here during the Civil War, those things are of interest to me. The architecture, I mean, you name it. There's a lot of history here in town. The people are another big one. Everyone here is very friendly. I think most people in this community would go out of their way to help each other. I know we have an older population coming in, and it's been deemed a nice place to retire, which I agree with. And it's just a very happy, friendly community that looks out for each other, and that's a rarity in this day and age, unfortunately. So those are probably two of my top things that I like. But there's, of course, I guess I have to say the restaurant scene's kind of nice too, because I came from a small town where we had like 3 restaurants, and here there are almost too many. I can't get to all of them.
Yeah.
So.
I was just talking with Brady from Old Town, and that was one of the questions that we asked last night, was like, what's one of your favorite things about this community? And, that should be a little bit deeper. And I was like, this makes me sound really shallow, but the food. I was like, I love the restaurant scene here. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
There's a bit of nostalgia here for me because I was born and raised in Winchester. And then I'd moved not far away in neighboring Berkeley County. And then I came back here recently. So for me, there's just, it's bringing me back home, right? And exposing me to, that is Chief Henschel's pager.
Okay. I was like, what's Sam? What's going on with our gear? It's just Chef Henschel.
But no, I think a lot of it is just nostalgia and kind of being back, traveling while they're more mature, and grown up than when I was younger. Telling a little bit of my age. But I will say, in agreement with Chief Henschel, the history, what I like is my one daughter is very much a history buff. So I love bringing them through town, and if we talk about those things, she loves it. And to know, she had no idea that this was like right outside of our back door, and it's something I took for granted. I grew up here. So that, and then definitely one thing that personally I enjoy with you guys is the foodie. I'm a foodie. So I love getting to try new things. It's very hard. I have 4 kids, so we don't typically go out to eat very often for a lot of reasons.
I mean, we were talking about cost of living, and that affects all of us. So Sam's got 5.
Oh, Sam.
9? Was that 1 hand or 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do have a staff member, Rockstar staff member. He has 9 kids.
Wow.
Brian, one of our other staff members, 6. Sam, 5. Yeah.
Is this a requirement?
Slacking.
Is this a requirement?
No.
No. Yeah. But that is a great thing about the area too that I've learned, and in the city employees, all the resources. I think that's fabulous. That's one thing I really appreciate about this community. I'm coming from a community that doesn't quite have all that. I think one thing that sometimes might be taken for granted here is just how many resources people really do have. But I think some of that comes back to awareness, right?
Yeah.
And just knowing how to network.
Yep. Knowing how to navigate it.
Yep. So I think that too is really special, and the cool people you get to meet. Oh my gosh, the diversity here is fantastic. I get to meet so many people from so many different walks of life, and especially in this job and helping people in need. While they're so gracious and appreciative of what I do for them, I don't think they understand that the return is equal as well, and how much they actually do for me, and how they make me feel at the end of the day. Being able to make that impact and allowing me that opportunity, because these are people that sometimes it takes some time to establish that trust, right?
Trust is huge.
Yeah,
I think what we do, particularly long term, to see long-term success, long-term, positive outcomes, so much of that is just built on trust, because without trust, you're not able to, extend vulnerability. And within vulnerability, then after vulnerability can come really true long-term, joy and success and all of the things that you want to achieve. So, trust is definitely big. And, well, guys, I appreciate it. I love working with you guys. I love serving this community with y'all. And I look forward to, many more years to come, and many more years to come, just in whatever ways that it looks like. I'm so excited to serve with you guys. And I appreciate and love what you guys do. Thank you just so much for leading in the ways that y'all do, and loving others well.
Thanks for having me.